When people normally see that I don't have hair, they normally ignore the fact that I don't have hair, call me pretty, comment behind my back where I don't know, or I just don't, or they just don't look, or they just stare.
When Matilda first started losing her hair, it was quite a big shock. I didn't know what was going on. A lot of doctors that we went to did say that it was stress related, but I don't understand the stress that she would be having. So I went to a lot of different doctors until I finally found the one that told me what even alopecia was.
Alopecia is when your body is fighting your hair follicles. So your body sends up all its white blood cells to fight them, and then it just pushes out all your hair because it thinks it's a foreign object and it doesn't want it.
It is hard, and it is only because it affects her in a way. Sometimes people in the street will look and stare, and not everyone knows what alopecia is, and not everyone is actually judging. They're just curious.
When I go to school, I sometimes wear wigs, but the longest I've lasted with the wig is till lunchtime because it gets too itchy. You know the hair that they have on dolls? That's the hair that they have on wigs, fake haired wigs, and that can cause it to itch on your head as well.
Matilda's getting a wig made, and I am so excited about it. I can't wait to start playing with her hair again, because I do remember doing some things even though she hated me playing with her hair because it always hurt. But this time I get to play with her hair and it's not going to hurt her head.
My name is Paul Frasca and I'm the co-founder of Sustainable Salons Australia. Basically, we take anything out of the salon that can be recycled, which is pretty much everything, and then we bring it back to our depots for recycling. So we collect everything from hair clippings, even pet fur, and we collect ponytails. Hair is actually more valuable than gold when you collect it as a ponytail. When we first heard about Matilda and that she had a synthetic wig, we felt it was our responsibility to make sure that we would provide some really good quality human hair over to a good friend of ours, Rachel, who actually owns a sustainable salon and is a wig maker, and she put her hand up straight away to want to make this wig for Matilda.
My name is Rachel Walker. I'm the director of Chili Couture, Pure Hair Indulgence and Mr Walker's Wiggery here in Perth. Chili Couture was WA's first sustainable salon and probably one of their proudest members. So I started Mr Walker's Wiggery because having hair makes women and men feel good, and I knew that I could help them.
I can't even imagine what it must feel like for an 11-year-old girl to wake up one day and to have clumps of hair coming out in the shower and then realising that you're actually losing all your hair.
So I wanted to make a wig for Matilda so that she could feel really confident and feel really free to be herself at school.
Yes, I am very excited to get a new wig from Rachel. I've never seen a wig being made before. It'd be really nice to experience, something I've never experienced before. You feel so pretty.
Hello! Hi. You must be Matilda, I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So the first stage when we make a mould of somebody's head, it's really important to do this correctly because no one's head is symmetrical, no one's head is perfect. They've all got different shapes and lumps. So it's really important to get that right because you want to have the wig fit really, really snugly. So when the first day Matilda came in, that's what we did for her. We took a mould of her head and we took her measurements exactly, which I then transferred onto the wig block and packed out with foam so that what I had to work with was like I was having Matilda sitting in front of me.
Looks like a brain with eyebrows.
When I got home from her yesterday, I made my head block with the mould that I made from her head. So this is the shape of her head exactly. And then what I do is I map out where all the netting is going to go. This is make or break on your wig because mapping out where it's all going to go and how it's going to mould around the head is really important.
So where does Matilda's hair come from? Well, it comes from a whole range of different sources. We have hundreds of people sending in hair all the time. Now when all that hair gets collected, it takes 20 ponytails to make one wig. The grading process of hair is really interesting because most people don't realise is that they all have to be put into separate groups, and it all really depends on a few factors. One is the length, the other is on whether it's coloured or not. And once we can determine these factors, well, we know the specific wig makers and charities that really need that hair and that we can provide it to them as quickly as possible.
So the second stage of making the wig really starts with drawing the hair. So you've got to sort through all of your ponytails, and then with Matilda's hair I made the wefts. So I hand-made the wefts that were going to go into the back of the hair. To make a weft it's going to take me about an hour because I only work with very fine strands of hair, maybe about 10 to 15 strands of hair at a time. Stage 3 is actually all of the ventilating, which is hand knotting the hair, sewing in wefts, and the final wig construction. So when you're making a wig, one of the most challenging parts is ventilating. It's very repetitive and very painstaking, and it's the process of knotting a single strand of hair at a time into the Swiss lace. This took me an hour to do. I wouldn't even begin to count how many strands of hair. In a normal person's hair, there's around about 100,000 strands of hair on average. I think we do sometimes get pretty close to that with wig making, but it would be well upwards of 50,000 strands in a wig easily. A wig can cost anywhere between $2,500 right through to $25,000 depending on how much of the wig is ventilated. For an example, for Matilda's wig, I would sell that through at around about $10,000 to $12,000. There she is!
So beautiful!
I was actually nervous about Matilda seeing the wig. Every wig maker has a little bit of fear the day before handover. Will it fit? Is she going to like it? You've spent so much time on this and you've really poured your heart into creating this beautiful piece of hair art, and you really want someone to love it as much as you've put your love into it. Yeah, I was nervous. Oh, it was amazing. Seeing her really happy, the fact that the wig fit her like a glove, that made me very happy. And it's the culmination of all of your work. It's beautiful looking at something that you've created and you've poured your heart into and putting it on and seeing her just blossom. That just makes you feel so good.
I feel like I have actual real hair now.
I wish that Matilda feels normal as a teenage girl can feel, and has the confidence that every teenager has going out into the world, going to school, going to social events, and feeling like she's normal.
I like being bold because it's fun. I'm different. I'm not someone else. I'm not pretending to be anyone and I feel way more freer.
From what I've learned about collecting hair for medical wigs is the hair doesn't define who these people are. It just helps them get on with their life. It can take up to 8 weeks to make a wig. So there's a lot of labour that goes into actually producing that wig, but collecting the resource, which is of course the hair, well, that's a big part of it. And getting high quality can actually make up 50% of the cost of actually even making the wig.
If you're cutting more than 20 or 30 centimetres off your hair, people need that hair. For people who've lost their hair, it's really hard. And you might take it for granted that you have hair, and it might not be that important to you, but it can be really important and life-changing to somebody else.
Hundreds of people are cutting off their hair every day, and hairdressers, it's our responsibility to make sure that we can spot that hair that's being cut off that is of good grade and can be used on a medical wig. Honestly, hair should not be looked at as a waste product. It's our future resource.